Hey guys, Shanti Phillips here with a brand new video talking about my most watched horror films. Now, of course, there's going to be, I'm sure, lots of ones I forgot, lots of ones I forgot to show, but I went through it and picked out a lot of the horror films I feel like I've watched a lot. A lot of ones that maybe I watched a lot as a kid, or I kind of have memories of watching them a lot, or just sort of ones that I feel like I every so often watch a lot more than other ones. So these are in no particular order. This is one that I remember watching a ton when it first came out, and still watch it. Now it doesn't feel like I don't feel like it holds up to me as good as it was then, but I still like it, and I really loved it when it first came out. It was like one of the early R-rated movies I saw in theaters. I think I was like in sixth grade or something like that. So I always really kind of liked it because of that too. I think Alien Resurrection was the actual first R-rated movie I ever saw in a theater, but this was one of the earliest ones. This was urban legends, about the urban legends of the kids at school kind of getting killed off in like urban legends type ways. But I watched that so many different times. This one is a shot-on-video horror movie, which I love. I think one of my top favorite of all time shot-on-video horror films. And when you think of shot-on-video horror films, I always try and find one as cool as this, but it's not easy to find one as cool as this. And this is Video Violence, a really, really creepy, weird one about this town that basically kills people, and they rent the videotapes out in their local video rental store. They kind of rent them all around, their murder tapes, and share them around. It's a pretty creepy concept of a movie. Another one is considered one of the best, worst movies. I watched this so many times. I love this movie, and I actually saw this movie and discovered this movie before it became, kind of cool to like this movie. I actually saw this movie when it first came out as a kid, rented it in like 91 or so. I think something like that. When it was brand new. Like, it was one of the new releases. I think it was in the fantasy section. And this is Troll 2. I know it's like, it's not a great movie or anything like that, but I like this. I just, as a whole, I love this movie. And same with Troll, the first Troll film. This is another one. I keep this one because I like this original cover to this. But this is another one that I've watched so many times. Love this movie. Has no connection to Troll 2 whatsoever. Troll 2 just basically, profited off of that. Italian horror movies used to do that a lot, like call something part two of something. It has no connection to it. This is one that I remember too. I have really fond memories of this movie because, well, I fond memories and also not fond memories. This one teacher threw chalk in my eye, and there's a whole big dispute with the school and stuff, and we were kind of figuring out what we were going to do with about the whole situation, and I actually didn't go to school the one day on a Friday, so instead I went to see Ravenous. This has always been my favorite movies, one of my favorite cannibal movies. This is, the Shout Factory edition, Scream Factory one of this. Just, if you want to see a cool cannibal movie, like that's one I've watched so many times. The next one is Return of the Living Dead 2. I mean, the first Return of the Living Dead and the second one as well, but Return of the Living Dead, this is like one of my top favorite horror movies of all time, as well as one of the ones that I've watched so many times, which is so funny, too, how things change in life, like, because this is always something I used to watch, but, since, I've been, I act as well in horror movies and things like that, I've gotten to work with a lot of people from this, got to work with Beverly Randolph in a movie, and Linnea Quigley in some movies, Girls Gone Dead and stuff. So it's kind of cool, like, to actually get to work with people and know people and things like that from this. It's just fun. It's just interesting how something you grew up watching, loved as a kid, and then things like that can happen. Another one, too, that I've always really loved. I know it's not the greatest, needs a Blu-ray release. It also needs or even a DVD release with the actual original music instead of this bad, weird change stuff, which was, I think, originally the music they put in is like temp music in the 80s, and then they, to kind of build off the real music. But this is, Return of the Living Dead Part 2. And I even have, I made my own, weird bootleg of copying a VHS of it. So I had one on a DVD that actually had the original music. This is one that I watched as a kid so many times. And I know they're doing a remake of this, which I'm interested in seeing, what they do with it. And this is, Stephen King's The Stand. I watched this so many times. Always love this movie. I know it's not perfect, but when it comes to these really, really long movies and things like that, I like this one. I think this is actually one of my favorite Stephen King kind of stories, adaptations for the TV ones. Another one, which I think is one of the creepiest movies, also needs a Blu-ray and also needs a formatted properly widescreen, and this is Session 9. Always love this too because Brendan Sexton III is in this movie. I thought he was really pretty cool in this. Really, really cool, creepy, haunted asylum movie. One of those movies that really scared me, especially the one scene where reaching through the wall, and you see in the embalming, like the morgue kind of area. I don't know, that one thing always creeped me out the most. Another one, and this is the code red Blu-ray of this. This is one that I've watched so many times. It's a bad movie, but a good bad movie with great music. This is Neon Maniacs. Very strange movie about these weird creatures that kind of live underneath the bridge in San Francisco and kind of go out at night and like kill people. And some even they even have their own trading cards. They never really explain that either. There's like a scene when there's like trading cards with these characters' faces on the ground. When people talk about like wanting to buy props and things like that from movies, that'd be like a secret dream to have those trading cards from that. I don't know why, but that's like one of those things I always think would be cool to have. Because like people are like, what is this? What are these? Because like to me, I kind of like really obscure stuff like that. Now, out of all like the series of films, like franchise and things like that, these are the ones that I watched more than I watched Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street. I watched Child's Play movies. These are the ones I really love. These movies, have watched all of them a number of times. That my favorite one to always watch as a kid and when I was younger, it was Child's Play 3. Even though I know it's not the greatest movie, something about that one, I really love that, and I love the scene at the end in the theme park, the kind of fake carnival thing. I don't know what it is about the third one. That was the one I watched the most of all of them. This is a movie that I love. But I actually had like a tie between Near Dark though, because Near Dark I think is in some ways kind of cooler in some aspects, but at the same time though, this movie is such a cool movie and like one of my favorite of the vampire movies. The top favorite with Near Dark. This is The Lost Boys. Everything was cool about this movie. The music, everything. It's just such a cool vampire movie. Corey Haim, Corey Feldman in this. Definitely my favorite movie that they ever did together as well. Another one, I used to watch this all the time. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, a great killer clown, movie about these crazy clowns that are aliens from space. And now this is gonna sound nuts, but out of all the Jaws movies, for some strange reason, this is the one that I watched the most. And I know it's not very good at all. I know it's pretty much terrible. And they were going to put this Blu-ray out of it, and they canceled it, and hopefully sometime they do. But for some reason, this is the one that I watched more than any of the other ones, and was Jaws 3. I had some kind of a thing, especially as a kid. I loved this stuff because I used to always go to Florida a lot as a kid, and I used to go to the SeaWorld, and they actually filmed this in that SeaWorld. And my mom's friend was in this. I remember my mom was always talking about her friend Bess Armstrong when she was younger, when she was growing up, and she was in this movie. So like I always used to watch it because of that too, because I always knew that my mom was friends with this woman when she was a kid. So I always kind of just really wanted to watch this, and like it was the one I always watched. I don't know, something about it I like, because I like that stuff too when they're in that tunnel system and they kind of get flooded in there, and the shark they're working to get in. I don't know what it is about this, but I've watched this more than any of the other Jaws. Another one that I really like, I think it's two, because this is like when I was in the 6th grade. I think I always really liked Jessica Alba, and I think I was watching this because I like Jessica Alba. That's probably why I watched this so many times. But this is, Idle Hands. Not a great movie. I watched this again recently, but I always liked it. Another one that I really liked, I watched this a lot. It's another one, it's not really a good movie, but it's a strange movie, and it's Funland. And I know the one guy in this, the one who was from, Laverne and Shirley. I think it was David Launder. I actually brought this strange picture, like a crappy screenshot for him to sign from this, and he looked at me really weird. But it's the movie Funland. I don't know. I like this weird movie about this clown that kind of gets fed up with his job, and it's not. It's just a strange movie. The director of this did the Sleepaway Camp sequels. Another one I watched this again a couple nights ago. And this really cool movie. Watched this a lot too. Is The Fly? The David Cronenberg one. And out of the Gremlins movies, the one that I watched more than any of them was Gremlins 2. Something about the setting, especially as a kid, in the setting in that tower. I always just really love this one. The Ghoulies films, didn't watch Ghoulies 1 very much at all. I actually don't really like Ghoulies 1 at all, to be honest. There's stuff about it that's okay, but I don't know what it is. I never really cared for it. But Ghoulies 2, I really love Ghoulies 2 because it's set at that carnival, and the Ghoulies are in that haunted house and killing the people in there. I always really loved that movie. This one isn't open because I remember people said the transfer isn't good, so I always just sort of watch the DVD of it. But at some point I'll open it, or hopefully they do a better release of this. But this is, Wes Craven's The Hills Have Eyes. I love Michael Berryman too, but this is one I've watched a lot. I actually watched the remake as well. This one I still watch all the time. I know they're doing a new one of this. I don't know how I feel. I mean, I'll watch it, but no one can top Tim Curry. I mean, Tim Curry was amazing as this, and I love to do like my weird impression of this, I'm Pennywise the dancing clown, and you're Georgie, so now we know each other. I don't know, I always love doing that. Someday I'll put the whole makeup on and try and do like the best I possibly can. I don't know, there's certain characters I love. The Pennywise character is amazing to me. Really good movie. Another one that I watch a lot, people hate this movie. I know it's not great, but I love it, and it's The Island of Dr. Moreau. This is the 1996 one, um, with Val Kilmer and Marlon Brando. Another one is Alive, Alive, Alive. The Funhouse movie, Toby Hooper's movie. I think this is a great movie, and it's a creepy movie. Every time I think of like carnivals and fairs and stuff like that, I see the Funhouse. I always kind of imagine that like there's like creepy, weird stuff going on like that in them. Of course, there's never really that many that are cool like this one. Most of them are just kind of this like little crappy track thing, and there all the stuff that kind of happens in this, it wouldn't, I mean, there's not that many that are that cool. Like I said, there's a lot in this video that I've watched a lot. Of course, though, I would say I've watched equally the same amount of time, but probably the sequels a little bit more, just because they're strange. So I like them because they're really strange. But the Sleepaway Camp films, I think these are great movies, and recently watching the first one again, really holds up really good and really a great slasher film. But the sequels as well, I really love the sequels. This is another one of the best movies for the lighting too, and they even played this on the TV on the American Horror Stories recently, so I thought it was kind of cool they put that on here. And this is Dario Argento's Suspiria. I know soon there should be a Blu-ray of this from Synapse. I can't wait till there's finally a new Blu-ray of this, because I remember like this was around the time too when they used to have all these recalls at Anchor Bay because the disc would turn black. Like Opera, that happened to that disc. Having a Wicker Man, a bunch of Anchor Bay discs were always having that issue with it. And this is back too when you would get a case when they weren't really worried about plastic and all that kind of stuff. And like this case weighs a ton. It's not just because there's a book in here. It's just like weight. It's back when cases were really, really sturdy and strong. Now they're kind of thin, like those biodegradable, whatever it is that like you could recycle ones. Another one, because I always kind of, that's kind of weird because I keep everything that I get. Like this one. Out of the Pet Semetary films, this is the one that I watched the most as a kid, and I just love this one. And Eddie Furlong's in this. This is Pet Semetary 2, and this is basically this kid who moves to this new town, and the weird stuff that happens. And one's dog gets killed, and he finds out at the pet cemetery, and he wants to do something. Eddie Furlong wants to bring back his mother with it. And it's bad things start to happen when everybody starts bringing everybody back. Another Wes Craven one that I've watched a million times, and this is Wes Craven's The People Under the Stairs. This is the Scream Factory release of this one. Just a great, great weird movie. One of my all-time favorites of his. This one as well, Motel Hell. When I think of like weird hole-in-the-wall hotels, I always think of this. And I also, when I think of like people like buying weird beef jerky, those kind of weird like homemade-ish or small brands, I always think that it's made out of humans because of this movie, because it's this guy who runs this hole-in-the-wall hotel with his sister, and he basically traps people who kind of go on the street and causes accidents and kills them, and ends up making them into beef jerky. Now this falls apart really bad at the end. I sometimes shut this off before like the last 20 minutes. I don't like the last 20 minutes of this movie, but before that I love this movie. But it's like this the end, it falls apart in a weird way. And this is another Toby Hooper film that I watched so many times. Hell's Bells, I'm gonna dance. And it's Robert Englund in this, playing this crazy old man. I love him in this movie. Like one of my favorite roles of his because it's so strange. And this is the Mangler, and it's the guy, too, who was from, you know, um, Silence of the Lambs, Ted Levine. Really cool in this movie. One of the few movies, too, I think of when I think of him, as like the lead in a movie, because he's usually kind of smaller roles in movies. But this is a really, really cool, strange movie about this factory that's all for like folding laundry and things like that. And there's this machine that folds them and kills everybody, and they get sucked into it. It's really gross and stuff. But like I said, the end falls apart weird. This movie, as a kid, I watched this so many times. I love the songs, the sky is blue and all the leaves are gray. The sun's as warm as a baked potato. I think I know precisely what I mean when I say it's a spadoinkle day. I don't know, I remember all these songs in this. This is, Matt Stone and Trey Parker movie, Cannibal the Musical. I love this movie. Hopefully they do a Blu-ray of this one down the line as well. This is a trauma movie that they distributed, like one of the first things that Matt Stone and Trey Parker did. This is another one that I love, and this is on Blu-ray. This is a Canadian release of this, and this is the movie Cube. Kind of a thinking kind of horror movie though, but it's like people who get trapped in this cube, and you have to kind of do all kind of math and mathematics and all this kind of stuff to figure out which room to go in, because you go in the wrong room, then you'll get killed by these traps. It's kind of like the original Saw movie before all that, like early on kind of Saw movie. Really, really cool movie though. And out of the Dawn of the Dead. I watched both of these though, so I'm gonna say both. Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead, because I love movies set in malls. Movies in malls are some of my favorite of all time, especially old malls. Malls now are not very as cool for if they set them in malls now, especially because like no one's really at them, and there's not as many different kind of stores. Back then they had like gun shops and all kinds of weird stuff, so you could kind of like have like ammunition and all that kind of stuff for the zombies. Now it wouldn't work as good. But another one, Day of the Dead. This is one of my all-time favorite movies of all time. I know they're doing a remake of this now, so definitely interested in seeing how that goes with that. But that's one I've watched so many times. This is one of my all-time favorite Lin Shaye films, and a great movie that not a lot of people have seen. I think it might be on Netflix. I'm not sure, though. And this is Dead End. If any of these movies too, look them up on Netflix too if you guys want to check any of these out. But if you want to pick them up or whatever. But for that, if you just want to see them, I'm sure some of them are on Netflix. But this is Dead End, about this family that's on this road. Something's going on the road, and they continuously keep passing by the same things. They can't seem to get off this road no matter what they do. Ray Wise is in this. Definitely my all-time favorite Ray Wise film. And it's just basically Lin Shaye, Ray Wise, and then their kids in the car, and they're just stuck on this road, and what's going on this road. Mainly the movie's set in the car, but such a good movie. Another one, as a kid, I watched this so many times, and this is Congo. I haven't opened this because I got this recently, but I watched this so many times about them going on the expedition with the gorillas. But really cool movie. But not amazing. But I always like that. This one's really out of print, and this is Crawl Space. This is a TV movie. I discovered this on a VHS my parents taped. And I kind of went through old box and just saw one thing that said Crawl Space, and I saw this probably when I was like 9 years old, 10 years old, something like that. And then I discovered the movie and got obsessed with it, and kind of never thought that I would be able to actually have like a released copy of this on anything. And then Wild Eye put this out a long time ago when they first started in 2007. And this is just a great movie about this kind of homeless guy living downstairs in this family's house, and they kind of like start feeding him, and kind of like they never had kids, and kind of I don't know, it's just a weird, strange movie. It was another weird TV movie. Another weird TV movie that I've talked about a lot. Watched this so many times. I thought if they ever remade this, he's too old now to do it, but he could have done this. Jesse Eisenberg could have played him, but this is Bad Ronald. This movie about this kid who ends up accidentally killing this girl, and his mom doesn't know what to do, so she hides him in the wall of the house. But things go terribly wrong for the mom. And they built this whole thing about hiding on the walls and systems of knocking and everything. But then the mother something happens to her, and a new family comes in the house, and it's what ends up happening. But a great movie, great TV movie. It's a Warner Archive release if you guys want to pick that up. Another one I've watched so many times is set in a drive-in, dead end drive-in. It's like once you get in this drive-in, you're not going to get out. This guy with his girlfriend goes in this drive-in, gets trapped in there, and kind of like they put all like the juvenile delinquent kids and stuff like that in this drive-in and trap them in there and won't let them leave. And that's essentially what it is. This one I haven't watched in a long time, but as a kid in middle school, I would say I watched this a million times. And this is Disturbing Behavior. I don't know if they're going to put this I'm sure at some point Olive Films or somebody's going to release this one, but this is just one I watched so many times. Regardless of that, whenever it comes to Blu-ray, I'm definitely going to get this because I always used to love this movie. Need to watch it again, but I'm kind of waiting till hopefully for a Blu-ray release. This one too, I know they've done a scene for scene almost remake from the same script of this, which I think is going to come out next year at some point, and that's Cabin Fever, Eli Roth's film Cabin Fever. But watched this so many times. I remember in school talking about how much I liked this in like a film studies class, and then everyone was like kind of looking at me like, "Why do you like that gross thing?" I'm like, I don't know. And this one, another movie that's one of the creepiest movies that really creeps me out, and it's definitely one of the best horror movies I think ever made. Just on the whole vibe of it. The sequels weren't very good, but the vibe of this was so cool. And this is Candyman, the Tony Todd film. There's something about this one that. There's so many cool sequences. There's so many cool things with the music. The whole story was creepy. The whole movie worked. Everything about this movie worked so well. Another one is a classic movie that I love. This movie, and I even put on the back. I have the old sticker from Borders books on there still, so a little flashback to Borders. But I love this movie, The Bad Seed. Such a great movie about this kid who's not very good kid and steals this penmanship matter from this kid, and you come to realize what she did to him. And it's just such a cool, creepy movie. And the next one is one that I've watched so many times. It's Body Double. Really, really love this movie. Have watched this so many times. I remember the first time it came to Blu-ray, I went and watched it immediately again the next day. It's one of those movies I even think I watched it on DVD a couple times again in a row. It's something about this whole movie. I love this movie so much, Body Double. So that's all for my movies that are my most watched horror movies. Let me know, guys, what are some of your most watched horror movies that you watch a lot. Any type of other most watched videos you'd like to see me do in the future as well. Anyway, though, guys, thanks again for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you guys later.